Welcome to my channel. Get comfortable, get you a snack, chill. We're gonna sit and talk about. So years, I don't know, back in like 2016, I was looking up a lot of writing tips, and one of the things that they mentioned was to make a list of the things that you're drawn to, topics, you know. So I'm just gonna call this like things I'm drawn to or my topics of interest. These are the things that I gravitate, yeah, said that right, towards in books, movies, and on the web in general that I'd like just want to look into or that I like in things. I have a commonplace note card system category for each of these so that I can add info into it, and I plan to create more index cards with various bits of info for these because I want to make video ideas and eventually do some writing around some of these topics in my future. I wanted to make this video to list all of my big interests, one so that I can get recommendations from you guys for books, movies, and TV, anything, you know. But also just to let y'all know what I like, so you can kind of see, you know, what kind of books I'm going to gravitate towards for this channel. Alright, I might do a trope version of this in the way future, but I really don't want to until I kind of know my reading taste now, because there was a large amount of time where I didn't do a whole lot of reading, so I'm still trying to figure out my taste at my age now. So let's get started on the list. First off, Goblins. I blame Labyrinth for this because, you know, the whole Goblin King and the little goblin guys running around. I feel like there's a lack of goblins in things. You don't see too many movies and stuff with goblins. Like, I can probably only name 5 movies that have goblins. I mean, if you know more, please tell me. I spent a couple months reading articles and watching a bunch of movies to gather any myths and info to put on index cards in my goblin category in my note card system. And I created a bunch of cards, but still, because I could tell there was a lack of goblins. We need more goblins. Okay, off of that, next topic, bullet journaling. Okay, so after high school, I wanted to create my own planner because I loved using the agenda that they gave us in high school. So I was kind of using a very basic version of bullet journaling within my agendas and within the little planner that I created. But I believe my first introduction to, you know, the whole bullet journaling, make it fancy, make it cute, would be Boho Berry. I came across her in July 2018. And of course from there it just took off. I've been bullet journaling pretty much ever since. Next one, the writer's notebook or a pocket notebook to grab ideas on the go. Well, there's a little link below that's about that. Next, commonplacing or the note card system. Basically, you put info onto an index card and then you sort those index cards with dividers in a box so you can gather a bunch of ideas. I was really obsessed with doing this back in like 2016-ish to 2018, and I still do it a little bit, but I am not concentrating on that hobby as much right now, but a little bit. So for like each book that I read, I try to write down some of the cards, you know, with my favorite quotes, or if it gives me a story idea or whatever, I'll put it on a card. purpose of the note card system, or commonplace, is to divide your bigger stimuli, movies, books, your notes, videos that you watch with notes and ideas, into an easy to access and rearrangeable like nuggets of thoughts on the index cards, so that you can kind of take like your idea from this YouTube video over here with this idea from this book over here and combine it and make something cool, so that your ideas kind of like bunnies and make little idea babies, you know. I came across Ryan Holiday, Todd Henry, Robert Pirsig wrote about the commonplace in his book, especially Ryan Holiday. Not everybody wants to take notes on stuff that they're watching and consuming, but for like us booktubers who want to collect our ideas, it's not a bad system to use, I think. Especially that way you can kind of combine things from a whole bunch of different places to come up with stuff. Done with that topic. Next, books. Obviously, I love books. I want to read books about books. I want to watch movies about books in bookstores and libraries. I love when a movie or TV show incorporates a book or a bookstore or a library. I have that listed somewhere else here too. Where was it? Here, libraries and bookstores. That takes me to my other topic. Any movie that has a library or bookstore, The Page Master. Any TV show, Black Books. And I want to find more books and movies and TV that talk about books, libraries, and bookstores. So if you know any, let me know. Okay, back at the beginning of my list. Elementals. Anyone who can wield the power of the elements. Okay, I know this is going to date me, age me, but I think my first encounter with this, with elementals, would be the cartoon Captain Planet. You know how each kid, I think, had a ring and they could command, you know, like earth and fire and water, you know. Anyhow, I wanted to research, you know, elementals to use in future writing, because it sounds pretty cool. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that incorporated Last Airbender. I didn't watch it, but I've heard of it. So I know that there's more that has elementals, and like I'd seen a picture like in photography where the chick had her hands kind of like this and there was like a water ball there, and that's what made me think like, oh, I need to add this to my commonplace because that is cool and that would be cool in a book. So anyways, next topic, vampires. Okay, yeah, I love vampires. I blame Once Bitten, Bordello of Blood, and of course Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I will watch anything with vampires in it at least once. That doesn't mean that I like everything with vampires in it. There was one where it was about in Alaska, where the vampires were there because, you know, in Alaska it goes dark all day long for a long period of time and the people were stuck. I don't remember the name of the movie, but some of you'll know what I'm talking about. That one I didn't like as much. I mean, it was alright, but no, not my kind of vampire. Sorry. But like I said, I'll watch anything with a vampire in it once. I like paranormal romance. Love paranormal romance, especially if it has vampires. Werewolf ones are okay. I'm not against it, but vampires. I would recommend Dark Awakening by Kendra Lake Castle. That was enjoyable. I liked that. Okay, next topic. Mermaids. The Little Mermaid was my first introduction to mermaids. So when The Little Mermaid came out, Disney's Little Mermaid came out in 1989. I remember being in the big department store, and we were looking for The Little Mermaid. So they had VHS tapes back then. And they had this whole aisle of the videos of the movies. And we're looking, and we see one that was like Hans Christian Andersen based. It was, not on brand. So I'm like, that's not the right one. That's not the Disney one, So I go running down the aisle. 4 years old, running down the aisle, and parents are like, oh my god, get the kid, come back. On this spinny rack, it had the Disney Little Mermaid. So I got my movie. I was happy. I thought that was cute. Alright, next topic. Sea creatures. I love watching nature videos that show under the ocean, all the fish moving around, the turtles, the octopus, and the colorful fish. Love that. Alright, next topic. Shipwrecks. Titanic, Gilligan's Island. Love that. There was a TV show called Friday the 13th, the series. And it was a show about an antique store, and they had sold the antiques, but the antiques were cursed, so they kind of had to go and get the antiques back, I think. There was one episode that was called... Where's the title? Oh, What a Mother Wouldn't Do. And it had a cursed cradle from the Titanic that compels the parents of a sick baby to drown people in order to save their baby's life. So the cursed antique was the cradle. It keeps the ill baby alive and cures them after the parents kill 7 people in water. The villain ended up being the mother. She ended up being the 7th person by leaping off of the balcony into the pool and drowned herself to save her child. So that reference to Titanic was cool to me. I liked that, but I like anything Titanic. Movie, awesome. I want more books. I came across one nonfiction that was about Titanic when I was younger. That was in our school library that I was obsessed with looking at. So I want to find more books on the Titanic. I'd seen a video not too long ago where one of the other girls, one of the booktubers, was reading a bunch of books about Titanic. So that's something that I want to do too. Next topic. Dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. So in 3rd or 4th grade we were learning about dinosaurs, and I believe it was around the same time that Jurassic Park had first came out, the first movie, plus Indiana Jones with the whole being an archaeologist kind of thing. Like, I wanted to grow up to be an archaeologist and dig up dinosaurs when I was that age, in 4th and 5th, or 3rd and 4th grade. But yeah, I love, next topic, found journals or papers and found objects, photographs, stuff, found things, old things, objects with history of a person. I believe in one of my things that I read about my zodiac was saying that I have connections to the past. That's why I like old stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. Okay. Werewolves. The underworld movies with the vampires and the werewolves. Awesome. Love it. Europe. I find Europe fascinating. Just because it looks cooler, because it has older buildings. America doesn't have as many, like, really old, cool-looking buildings. I mean, we have some, but I mean, it's not a castle. I like castles. Okay? So, Europe. Including the movie Euro Trip. Okay. Dragons. I love dragons. Hence the pen name, of course. Unicorns. The Last Unicorn was a cartoon that I played on repeat as a child. I loved that movie, so I love unicorns. The Middle Ages. Anything that mentions King Arthur, Merlin, makes me think of this time period. So I like stuff that talks about the Middle Ages. Next topic, nonfiction about writing, the writing craft, how to write, writing tips. I enjoyed our language arts classes during school when we did like the free writing or writing up based off of a prompt, and even poetry. That was kind of fun. I've been looking up writing tips for a long time since then, and that's like a back burner hobby for me, but that's one of the reasons why I was creating my commonplace Notecard system, because I want to get into writing eventually, like more. So I've dabbled, but nothing great. Entrepreneurism, Etsy, Patreon, YouTube. I'm researching how to dive into this. Also, I want to create something with this eventually, hence the reason I'm doing the channel. Zombies. Gotta love a good zombie movie. Funnier the better. Collections. It's the same with the whole antiques and found objects collections of stuff, especially when it's displayed super nicely. One book I would recommend is the Guillermo del Toro Cabinet of Curiosities, My Notebooks, Collections, and Other Obsessions. That book is super cool because he did like the Blade movies, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he did like a bunch of movies, so he had a house filled with all these horror movie stuff, and this book showed like his notebooks and his stuff in that house, and I was just fascinated. So I'd highly suggest checking that book out. Archives. Collections, but it's collections of papers. For example, I had bought 2 recipe boxes filled with old recipes at Goodwill, and in it I noticed that there was like receipts and a couple little pieces like to-do list and other little pieces of paper, packaging for a food shopper, a little note to a friend that, you know, it wasn't elaborate, it was something quick, and it was, all of this was just like a piece of this woman's life. And I'd found out that she'd lived like in the state but up above me, like north of me somewhere, and she'd passed away, so most likely her kids had got rid of the stuff, and here I ended up with her recipe box, you know, and it was just fascinating to me. Like, I totally could have been an archivist. Like, archaeologist and archivist would have been good job options for me had I known that they were options and had the opportunity for that sort of thing. I'd looked up before, researched the best way to like organize your computer files and archive your stuff, and I had came across the term of original order, and that had fascinated me too, so I'd researched a little bit of like how to be an archivist, and I'm like, yeah, that would have been cool. I would have enjoyed that. Okay, next topic, Egypt. Pyramids, mummies. I blame Indiana Jones. I like these things. Alright. Magic, witches, wizards, warlocks. I can't say the words. Okay, you know, all those things. Cool. Next one, mythology. Greek, Roman, Egyptian. I want to research other mythologies, like everywhere else too. So if you have any recommendations, please give me some. Geek Decor. Okay, so I came across an article that was about this guy who had took an apartment and turned it into like a Star Trek ship. Like you walk in, the door opens. I mean, everything was decked out as if you were on the Star Trek ship. And I'm like, okay, Geek Decor, love it. Photography. I liked photography when I was younger, but I didn't really dive into it until like 2016. and it's a hobby that I want to pick back up again. Fairies. Thumbelina and Fairy Tale: A True Story. Loved both of those movies. I don't think I've really read any fairy books yet. I have some, but I haven't read them yet. But I like fairies. Pompei. The whole archaeologist vibe of me, side of me, would love to explore it. I've loved hearing about it. It would just be cool to see in person someday. But even just looking at books that have the pictures of it, awesome. Pirates. Okay, I blame Cutthroat Island. It came out in 1995. So since watching that, I've been obsessed with pirates. Been dressed up as a pirate for Halloween once. I may do that again one of these days. Alright, next topic. Anastasia Romanov. After watching the animated movie, Disney, I believe, I did a little bit of research on it. Not a lot, but a little. So I like that topic. Any nonfiction books about creativity? Austin Kleon. Love them. But any others too. Nonfiction books about productivity. Space travel. Star Trek, etc. Love it. Creating your own life. Any life tip articles, especially if they come from the vibe of don't live how others want you to live, build your own life. And that, I like that. Nonfiction about painting. I want to get back into painting. Didn't really do much. I did a little back in art class, but like I want to get into it. Of course, we did the libraries and bookstores, fashion, hairstyles, trends, pretty clothes, anything pretty. I like it. Anime. I've slowly watched various animes, like anything that's been on Adult Swim. I've seen at least part of or all of. I want to dive into manga as well. I have one volume of Sailor Moon. I want more. Halloween, my favorite holiday. I love all things spooky. Skeletons, owls, witches, ghosts. Love it all. Gypsies. They intrigue me. I've seen a lot of different movies and TV that had gypsies, so I want to dive into that. Royalty, princesses, princes. Love it. It's beautiful. Aliens. They cool. I like it. It was the movie Aliens. I liked that. The Aliens vs. Predator. Awesome. Mars Attacks. Hilarious. I know there are plenty more other topics and things that I like, so I'll probably do another video like this again in the future, and eventually maybe do a trope version. But for now, that's all I have for you today. See you later. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Okay, let me restart this. It's gonna die on me. And we're back.